So, as if you didn't think anything could get any worse, Texas Governor, okay, Dan Patrick says that African Americans who have not been vaccinated are driving the COVID surge, as if it's no one else's fault that's unvaccinated, just the African Americans. So let me read this to you. So this is by Julian Mark. So when Texas Governor Dan Patrick was asked about the surge in the coronavirus cases during a Thursday night appearance on Fox News, the Republican said that African Americans who have not been vaccinated are the biggest group in the most states that contribute to this spike. And so Laura Ingraham had asked Patrick to respond to the criticism from Democrats that COVID-19 cases and deaths were on the rise in Texas due to Republican Governor Greg Abbott's policies. And so the governor has resisted public health mandates aimed at mitigating the highly contagious Delta variant spread and announced on Tuesday that he had tested himself positive for the virus despite being fully vaccinated. So Patrick acknowledged that COVID is spreading and that infections are largely among people who have not received the vaccine. So he admitted to that. However, Democrats like to blame Republicans on that. And so that's his saying, Patrick said. So, the biggest group in most states are African Americans who have not been vaccinated. And the last time I checked, over 90% of them vote for Democrats in their major cities and major counties. And so Patrick's comments, one video clip of which had been viewed more than 845,000 times on Twitter as of early Friday morning, drew immediate criticism, with some calling the lieutenant governor's assertions unfounded. And so his office did not respond to the request for comment late on Thursday. So the latest data from the Texas Department of State Health Service shows that African American population there is not driving the increase in cases. Black residents in Texas accounted for 16.4% of the state's cases and 10.2% of the deaths as of August 13th, while vaccination rates are low among Black Texans. The highest coronavirus cases are among whites and Hispanics, who make up 34.9% and 35.8% of the state's cases, respectively, according to the latest data. So making a statement that casts blame on a racial or ethnic minority group for the spread of the disease is a well-known racist trope that predates most of us. And so George Caballero, a former instructor at the Stanford University School of Medicine, who is now working as health data scientist, told the Washington Post, people are already getting hurt by the virus, and it makes absolutely no sense for us to add insults to injury. So on Thursday night, Caballero cast doubt on Patrick's claims on Twitter, referencing U.S. Census Bureau data collected in July and August that suggests unvaccinated white Texans outnumber unvaccinated Black Texans roughly 3-1. So Texas vaccination and case numbers are so stark, he said. There's just no room for misinterpretation. And so about 46% of the Texans are fully vaccinated, according to the Post tracking The nationwide rate is about 51%. And so the Texas Tribune reported this month that Black Texans hold the lowest vaccination rates among racial groups statewide at 28%. For the population, the paper noted a lack of trust in healthcare can be common based on generations of disparities in the American system. And so Hispanics and whites, conservatives in the rural areas also have low vaccination rates in Texas, according to the Tribune. And so COVID-19 cases there have risen 17% in the last week, and the deaths are up about nearly 60%, according to the Post Coronavirus Tracker. So meanwhile, Abbott has sought to ban mask mandates, and tensions continue to play out in this. And so at one Texas school, a superintendent detailed instances of parents they're verbally and physically assaulting educators over having to wear masks. And so including one parent pulling off a teacher's mask off her face. She pulled the face covering away. And I read that article. And so they have created a lot of anger, an uproar over the fact that they have to even wear masks. And most of those clips, those video clips I saw, showed a lot of white people that were angry because they had to wear masks, or their kids had to wear masks. They're out here in California. This isn't Texas, but in California, there's one school, Culver City Unified School District, who now requires all the children be vaccinated. And some parents have walked away from the school because they don't want their kids to be vaccinated. And so in that school district, most of the kids, that it's a large Hispanic, white, and population of children that look to be going to Culver City Unified. But I did see African American, but it looked like the larger number was white Hispanic people, white and Hispanic people that are kids that were going to that school. So I know too, they said here in California there are mega events like the Dodger Stadium, the SoFi Stadium has opened up out here. We have like a lot of stadiums. And, if it's not football, it's basketball. If it's not basketball and football, it's soccer stadiums or it's baseball stadiums. And Dodger is one, and that's a huge stadium. And then Anaheim, Disneyland. And so a lot of those places have opened up, and you'll see people that they're now, because they just enacted the mask mandate, they request that people have a mask even if they've been vaccinated fully. And so they just made a rule on that. And so most of the people that you see, and I'm not trying to be mean, I'm not saying that black people don't like baseball. You will see black people going to baseball games, but the large number that I see there look like they're white people or Hispanic people at the Dodger Stadium. And it's huge, and it's a huge event. And I think at one while you've seen a lot of them that didn't have masks on. You don't know which ones are fully vaccinated. Some people won't wear masks because they think, oh, I'm already vaccinated, so I don't have to wear a mask. And so, but you still could get it. And so that, that just goes to show you it's a lot of confusion too with the mask, whether you're supposed to wear it. If you're, some people don't know. They think, well, maybe I shouldn't wear it. But now that they made these rules, it's so scary because this virus is happening. Well, it's the Delta. That's what people are afraid. So that there's all this fighting and everything going on all over again. And so this is not a surprise to me. I will say this too, that there has been a history in the Black community of having a distrust in government and having a distrust in medical professions, because a lot of times you don't get treatment that is fair, or you don't get treatment that you don't get treated the same way as someone that isn't Black. or isn't claiming to be African American descent. And so I think there's a lot more numbers of black people out there than the census data it puts out. They always seem to make it look like, oh, there's not that many black people. And I feel like they're afraid to put the real numbers of how many of us there are. And I feel like that scares them. They like to make the numbers look really low. I think they're playing with the numbers. But it goes on to say that the day before Abbott announced his positive coronavirus diagnosis, videos started posting online showing the governor delivering remarks and interacting with the massless crowd at an indoor event. Okay, so this was earlier this month. The Texas Department of State Health Service requested 5 mortuary trailers in anticipation of a possible surge in deaths related to the state's ongoing spike, driving by a highly transmissible Delta variant. And so, whether we're talking about a deep red or deep blue state, we really need all of our leaders to actually focus on the problem and stop trying to score political points. So Caballero said this, and so I agree with that statement because we are our own worst enemy, and that is so true. I feel like all this fighting is not really productive. Fighting over who started what and all of that, it's already here. We have to do what we have to do to protect ourselves and stop blaming and pointing fingers at one another, because that's not helping this thing to go away either. It just adds more insult to injury. So it says, and the Delta variant is just having a field day with us. That is true. So that's basically the article. I feel like people are doing a lot of fighting and blaming one another, and as if there isn't enough fighting going on. We see what's going on, the Afghan situation, with the Taliban taking control, all of that craziness going on over there. That's very scary. I know it's unrelated to this article, but all of it, I feel like everything's connecting. Climate change, that seems scary. Then you got this Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. He's trying to foist blame on African Americans simply because of the fear that people are feeling. I feel like everybody's afraid some kind of way, and the way they deal with it is different than others because of whatever happened in their past or culture. And so I feel like if it's white people, they fear that it's government trying to control them and control everyone, and they've also included them in the mix. And that's probably what wasn't really happening before. It was more they were the dominant group. Now you're hearing this census about they're now the minority, and then you got this horrible virus out there and all this stuff happening with the stock market and housing issues and homelessness, and then people are not able to carry on with their lives as normal, and now you're adding this craziness, mass mandates and all this stuff, which is crazy, but it has a purpose, of course, in some people's eyes, and others are not happy about it. Of course, there's back and forth. Then you have black people who have a history where the medical field has not really been so great, or the medical people in the past have not been very honest about how they've treated black people. They either don't feel that black people feel any pain, they're not given pain medication, they're underserved in communities. There's a lot of issues with homelessness. There's issues with not having enough resources, not having enough job security, being laid off because of this virus, for many, and evictions. And then you have this thing you can't see, you can't touch, you can't feel it until it happens to you, and all of a sudden you see all this death around you. You don't know what's going on. Is it the government doing it? Is it that they're giving us a shot to make us sick because we're black? These are probably, I'm just throwing this out, this might be some of the mindset of some people that are really scared, or is it a trick? Or is it just fake and they just want us to submit to something else they're trying to do, and then You have all the other groups that have their histories and their cultural horror stories. And so that's probably what's going on. That's why there's so much confusion. And then at first you're being told, okay, we're going to have a new start. Let's take off the mask. Let's start all over again. Let's open up stuff. And then people start opening up things. Then you have governors, going against. You have governors that want to be safe and governors that think, oh, we've waited long enough. Let's take off the mask. Let's not worry about all of this. And then you have larger numbers of people getting sick in those places where they started opening things too soon. And so it's a lot of confusion going on back and forth, people pointing blame on one another. And so it's unproductive. It helps no one. I mean, we could sit and blame one another all day long. We know there's a lot of fear out there, but to point fingers at each other is not going to make this thing go away. It seems like it's here, and the thing to do is to try to be as safe as possible. We know something's out there. It's killing that many people. So you can't deny that something is going on now. I know some people want to use religion as their source of protection, but however, I will say this. Some of those same people that are part of those groups have showed another side of them as well. One that people weren't aware of. You'll see them either that they're saying, oh, we can't get sick. We're going to trust in the Lord and the Lord is going to keep us. And then you see a lot of them coming down with it, or they're getting sick and dying. So this thing is nothing to play with. This Delta variant and whatever other variants follow thereafter. And yeah, there are risks either way. They're breakthrough viruses. Now that people have gotten fully vaccinated, I've heard some stuff where CDC, I guess they were talking about this as well, that sometimes the longer that you've had your vaccination shot, the immunity, I guess it kind of wears down after a certain period of time. And so that's a possible reason why it can break through. And then maybe if you already have some health issues, it tends to target people that have pre-existing health issues. So there's a whole lot of different factors. But to blame people, I mean, we should be way past that. The thing is here. The viruses are here. And so the best thing to do is protect yourself, how you know how to protect yourself. And then some people, maybe they just feel like, what's the sense in taking the virus vaccine if we're going to be able to get it and transfer it anyway? Because some people think that this vaccine is not FDA approved. And I heard they were trying to get it approved. And they're trying to get it approved for the kids. People are part of religious groups where they don't believe in the vaccine. And then I heard there was another vaccine, I think it was Johnson & Johnson or one of them, that they said it had baby fetus or something in it or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And that was their reason for not getting that vaccine. But I know there were other vaccines that didn't have that, but people still weren't wanting to get it and for other reasons. And then I think really the reason is just finding excuses because there's fear. Because you have all these people that want to give this medicine to. You don't know what kind of medicine. You just know it's supposed to be a medicine to help you be able to live throughout this whole pandemic. But some people, however, have been getting sick anyway or being able to pass it to other people. So now they're talking about giving booster shots to people who've already been fully vaccinated 8 months down the line. So we don't know how far this thing's going to go and what's going to happen with the side effects. I know some people didn't do well with the vaccine, and I heard have been some side effects. Like any medication, there's side effects of some sort. And so I just think that blaming other people for things that you don't even really, you're not aware of, is unproductive. It's not helping. It doesn't make this thing go away to blame. And also we've seen what's happened when they blame Asian people for the virus, making it seem like it's all their fault. And you've seen a lot of incidences of bodily harm, theft, people being attacked brutally on the street, all because of their race. And it's like it's going back to the 50s, where people can get, just assassinated just because of what they look like. And so this does not help anything at all. So that's pretty much my take on this whole thing. I don't know what you think. you know, I just think I'm not surprised. I feel like people are just trying to find fault in people that they don't feel comfortable with. They never felt comfortable with. And, if you think about it, there's a lot of these things that are being said about, you know, trying to do racial reckoning and trying to do trainings in jobs for being able to deal with people and be more inclusive. And so some people don't like hearing that. They don't like hearing trying to be inclusive or accept people for who they are. And so it upsets them. So that's why they try to pick these type of arguments to blame people so that they can further the racism, further the harm. And so that's pretty much how I'm going to leave this, but this is not going to make this surge go away. The surge is here, and so we have to think more educated at how to strategize and how to work through this, because if you spend time fighting, you never get anything solved. It doesn't solve anything at all. Fighting only makes people think, okay, what am I going to do to hurt this person even more than they hurt me? It never ends. So I'm going to let this one go, but I do have other videos, and it is crazy how things have been going, and I will see you later.